Hello, welcome back. This is the walkthrough demonstration of the practicing for a difficult conversation, or as I used to call it, the intensity exercise. And it was the intensity exercise because your partner is going to deliver a message to you that you find intense. I call that the trigger. So at the highest level of thinking about this, this is a practice conversation in which your partner says something to you, a message that's difficult for you to receive. Then you respond, and then they deliver another difficult to hear message, and then you respond. So they speak, you speak, they speak, you speak. And in this, you're going to practice expressing to the other person what your feelings, needs, and requests are, and then whichever one you're going to do, you're going to do that one time in response to the difficult to hear message, and then they're going to deliver the next message, and then you're going to deliver whatever you didn't do last time, which if you did empathy first, then you would express. If you did expression first, you would empathize. So this exercise is intended to do several things. It's it's the most complex of these exercises. So I'm taking a little bit longer to describe it for you. So at that one level, it desensitizes you to the trigger. It has that intention, and it's my experience with myself and coaching others. And then you're practicing reconnecting with yourself in difficult moments in real life, simulated real life situations, so that you hopefully can carry that into the wild with you. And I call it the wild because this is like in captivity here. We're doing with people who know what we're doing, but in the wild, people don't know. So this is if you receive a difficult to hear message in the wild. So this gives you a map, a process to remember to respond to that situation. And so the response is to do self-connection, and then to ask yourself, are they saying please or thank you? And that is one of these cognitive therapy kind of principles. I got it from that insight, which is if you can shift your attention to thinking of whether they're saying please or thank you, and the world is basically divided into actions that you interpret that someone is either saying please or thank you. It may be difficult to hear the please, because the please is often where the difficult messages are. You know, someone's yelling at you or threatening you or something, and they're saying please. So bear with me on the concept of this. So if you can focus on what are they saying please, what are they asking me to do, it will help you stay out of your thoughts that may be of whatever. It helps you get out of your thoughts and into focusing on something else, which reduces your emotional response. And when you have a reduced emotional response, you have more choice. You are choiceful, so to speak. And by having more choice, you can bring in your prefrontal cortex and your values and the things you've learned in a course like this. You can learn the strategies. And, oh, I want to do this. And then that's the idea of the maps, is all you have to do is remember the map and remember the steps, the first step of the map, and then that'll get you moving, and then you'll remember the other steps of the map. And if you've practiced them with your practice partner, which I'm encouraging you to do, then you'll be more likely to do this in the moment. So this does all of that and perhaps more. Um, so you're going to be with your practice partner. Your practice partner, you decide who's going to go first, who's going to do what practice, who has a scenario that they want to work with, and you may need to decide what map, what of these exercises you want to use for that. But we're assuming that you've gone through that and that you've decided who is that you're going to do the listening, you're going to do the preparing or practicing. I'm getting confused here. You're going to do your practicing exercise, and who is going to be the person that is going to be triggered, and who is the person who's going to deliver the trigger. So this is going to be the person who's going to receive the trigger, and this is going to be the person who delivers the trigger. So this person may need to do self-connection practice just having thought of the scenario. So be mindful of that and check in with each other about whether the person who's going to receive the trigger needs to go through that. So then they when they're ready, so this person is in the driver's seat in this exercise. And so when they're ready, they say, okay, deliver the trigger. Now, this person's job is to support, and they go in and out of role. So initially, they're in the role of the person who their partner is anticipating the difficult conversation with. So you're in that role and you deliver the trigger. Now you want to deliver the trigger at a level below which you believe their trigger is. So you want to deliver it so they won't be triggered, because you want to escalate up slowly until you've identified the point at which they're triggered. So you want this person to be just at the first flicker. This is not a white knuckles, how much can this person take, kind of thing. It's what is the first flicker of sensation in my body someplace that tells me, oh, okay, so something's beginning here. And so then you hold up your hand, you say, hold it. And then this person goes into self-connection practice. And the key part there is to identify what is this sensation and what needs are not met or anticipated won't be met. What needs are not met in this moment? If I'm feeling this, and if I can identify and name the feeling through my self-connection process, what is this? Then this person can get present, then they can ask themselves, is the deliverer of this trigger the first time, are they saying please or thank you? And then you include your partner in what you've done as your self-connection practice. So you do it out loud. And then you say, okay, is this please or thank you? And it's probably a please if I'm finding it difficult to hear. But sometimes we find appreciation or thank you difficult to hear too. So you may not likely to be doing this exercise in anticipation of that, but if you were going to receive an award, you were going to be in front of a bunch of people, you were going to be acknowledged by your teammates or your boss or whatever, you might want to do this to prepare for that kind of thing, in which case they're saying thank you. Okay, so now I then decide, am I going to express or am I going to empathize? And it's my choice. And if I'm going to express, I say, if I'm going to use a training wheel sentence, when I hear you say that, I feel because I need, would you be willing? So the focus is on my feelings, my needs, I'm expressing to this person. And then I end with a request. And my 3 requests, just to remind you, are, would you tell me what you heard me say? Would you tell me how you feel hearing what I said? Or third, some kind of action request. Would you tell me more about what your concern is, for instance? then this person is, even if this person is touched by what they're saying and is beginning to soften and be connected out of their role, then they deliver a second trigger, some kind of, maybe the same trigger, exactly the same, or maybe some slightly different bit of the trigger that you are intending to trigger this person. When that's delivered, then this person, if they're triggered, they raise their hand. If they're not, they can coach their practice partner. And you can do this in the first round too, to coach the practice partner to say, what would you raise your voice? Would you harden your face? Would you look more intently? Would you speak louder? Whatever, to coach them to trigger you. Again, at the first flicker of the trigger. So one of the benefits of this is that you're learning what the first trigger, the first flicker of the fight, flight, freeze sensations or phenomena is. And by doing that, you have more control in the while, so that you don't just get flooded with all this adrenaline and cortisol and other stress hormones, and then you lose access to your prefrontal cortex, and you're down in your lower brain, and you're just, ready to do, what you've always done in those situations, your conflict habits. And you may well have discovered by now that when you do those, you tend to regret them later. And so this is a way to try to avoid that regret. So this person comes and says what they say. You raise your hand at the first flicker, or you coach them, and then you raise your hand at the first flicker. You do self-connection practice again, breath, body, needs. And then hopefully you've settled down a little bit. You can feel the shift in your body. You're doing this out loud. You're telling the person what you're doing. And when you feel this kind of willingness and something that you identify as presence, then you can say, okay, give me the trigger the second time. And then they've already given you the trigger. And then you say, are they saying please or thank you? And then you identify that out loud to the person. And then you either empathize or express. I express the first time, so I'll empathize. A formulaic way of saying this, which I encourage you to start with if you're new to this, but then to learn how to speak into the other person's listening. So I might say, so when I hear you say that, I'm wondering if you're feeling irritated because you're feeling pressured at work. You're feeling pressured about the deadline on this project. So that's my empathy guess. That then the partner can respond and not enroll, but and then as soon as you finish, if a conversation starts between you, as soon as you've finished, then you do a little reflection, a little learning piece. What did each of you learn about your role? And in that same reporting, the observation and the feeling. When this happened, this is how I felt. When I said or I thought or I did something, this is how I felt. And when I heard you say that, or when I saw your body move that way, or your voice go up or whatever, this is what I felt. So you're giving that kind of feedback, and you're only stepping out of that kind of feedback when the other person specifically requests you, or you ask them and they agree to you providing the additional feedback. So, any comments you have, I look forward to reading them. And I believe that that's it. Have a good day.